excited to share Vanessa with all of you. She has such an empowering story. Vanessa Fitzgerald from Bees Honey. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm always like pronouncing things wrong, so just correct me.
You're all good.
Yeah, and we've known each other for
A long time.
Yeah, for a long time. She lives in LA now.
Yeah.
Tell your whole life story. But she has such an awesome story that it really touched me and has touched so many people. We'll just edit that out.
I love it.
No, we will. So Vanessa has recently detoxed off Adderall, and I was so touched by your story. I mean, I shared it a few times on Instagram because it was a piece of my life that I never really openly talked about because I guess it's hard to talk about it. And I was a little ashamed to admit that I used to buy it off people to really lose weight. I mean, I was taking it when I was cocktail waitressing and like working all night, modeling all day, and then I'd want to get to the gym, so I would take it out, and it got to the point where like I was buying it off anyone and abusing it because it made me feel, I was just explaining this to her, it made me feel so confidently insecure. Like I was so insecure, but I had this, it gave me this confidence.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
I've always been trying to describe this feeling, and confidently insecure is exactly what Adderall does.
It was a therapist that once really just put me in my place and said that's how I acted when I would show up on it lying. And yeah, I would love to hear how, like, what got you to the place of just being ready to share it so openly and honestly with your followers and with everyone.
So I knew that, should I look at you or the camera?
I literally was look at the camera.
Okay, so I knew that if I had done it in secrecy, like if I put myself on an island and I'm like, I'm gonna get off this drug, then I wouldn't be accountable. So the only way I knew I was going to actually get off this time, because I've tried to go off 2 times prior, and I lasted about a week.
Okay.
And I knew that if I didn't like tell the world, tell all my friends, and finally let the secret out, that I wouldn't actually go through with it, and then I would probably end up taking it again.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part. And so what was the point? Like, do you remember the day?
Yeah, so I had just been dumped like 4 days prior. So I had yet another failed relationship. Well, not a failure, but it didn't work out. And then, I always like to take inventory of myself and what I could have done, because we can't change other people, we can only change ourselves. And then I was looking at where my career was, and I was feeling like I was in a rut, in a relationship, and just trying to figure out where I stood. And I was like, I did so much work on myself. I've done so much work on myself.
Yeah.
I've studied so much but I'm not sure, like the only thing that stands in my way, or really anyone's way in life, is yourself. So I knew I was in my own way, and I had to figure out how. And I sat there and I was like, the one thing I haven't changed in my life is my Adderall addiction. And I was about to go pop my normal 5 milligrams as I normally do in the morning. And I was like, no, you know what? I've tried to do this before, and this is it. It's worth a shot. Honestly, what do I have to lose? Who cares? I gained 5 pounds. What's 5 pounds for your life back?
Yep.
So I had to see if there was a difference, and then that was the day that I decided to go off. But I actually was filming myself 4 days prior to actually posting, because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was so nervous to share. I was nervous to tell my mom. I was nervous to tell my friends. Yeah. And then everybody was just so supportive and so encouraging. They're like, you should totally do this. And also, I'm a healthcare practitioner, so I was like, oh my God, no one's gonna trust anything I say again. And it's really true, when you show up fully in your truth, doors open. Your
you keep
life
giving me
just
crazy
accelerates.
Chills. It's so true. And so when you shared it, I was like, I didn't know. Like, I never would have known. And it brought me back to a place like within myself and my journey and getting comfortable sharing that I was bulimic for years, and like just saying it was so healing and uplifting, and it changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm now doing every single thing that I'm doing because I was honest. And I'm not saying like you have to tell Instagram everything, but it was a huge stepping stone. So I was shocked. Like, I remember being like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Right. And it's not that people like it's not like they distrust you or anything after that. If anything, people just, I think we all want to feel understood and feel like we're not alone in this world. And the more we feel alone, it perpetuates this cycle of like guilt and shame until you see somebody else. It's like, oh my God, I have that too. And I can totally relate. And then that guilt and that shame stops because we're all human.
Totally. And it just helps you connect with people on such a different wavelength. And if you could share what supplements have helped you continue this, I mean, how many days? Because you were counting and documenting it. I was like,
it's gotta be like 60 or over 60 now.
Oh my
I've
God.
lost count.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
But what, you share so many supplements and so much on your Instagram stories. So what would you say has really helped you?
So my top ones are, since Adderall overrides your brain's ability to build serotonin and dopamine on its own, it basically tells your brain to like take a back seat. I'm going to produce this for you. So when you go off, typically some people will get panic attacks. Maybe you'll get weepy a lot, or you'll feel like a dip in mood, or you just feel blue. So I have this supplement I really love. It's by a company called Standard Process. They only do whole food supplements. So it's literally just like food pressed into tablets or capsules. And this one is called Minchex, and it has liver in it. And we know that liver has a lot of vital nutrients in it that help support brain health. So because of that, it ends up feeding parts of your brain where like your neural pathways might be misfiring, because it's not actually us, it's our brain playing tricks on us. So we need something to help maybe just like feed that part of the brain that lost nutrition from the use of pharmaceutical drugs and maybe like the overuse of caffeine and whatnot. So Minchex has helped me a lot. The adrenal glands, so you become pretty vitamin B12 deficient when you're on Adderall and when you're on a lot of prescription drugs, and especially like if you are a plant-based person and you're vegan, you are already having issues getting enough B12 in. So B12 was really important for me to take. And I took it at pretty high doses at first, and then I tapered back once I started to feel like my body had its natural circadian rhythm, because not only does it help with energy, but it also helps with sleep. So
in mood
and everything.
I love my liquid B12.
And so it's funny, like going off Adderall, you feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna sleep so much better. No, because your nervous system gets confused, and it's used to taking this thing every day, so it doesn't know how to operate all of a sudden. So then you might actually have insomnia. Like I had insomnia like 2-3 nights in a row, and I was like, what is happening? But so the B12 really helped me to like feel elevated during the day and then fall asleep at night.
That's great. It's been helping me a lot during pregnancy, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Whenever I need a boost, I just drop it full.
And I like droppers too, because like when things are liquid, I feel like it's a little bit more bioavailable than your body having to actually
absorb it
digest and break down a capsule. Or I also really love rhodiola. It's like nature's Adderall.
100%.
We're not designed to be super hyper focused all day long as human beings. Like short periods of focus with little intermittent breaks are how we best work, and play is such an important
100%.
part of work. So it's important to take those breaks, but rhodiola helps with those short bursts of memory and focus that you need. And it actually is also a mood elevator.
I was just going to say I took it when I got off Adderall to boost my mood when I was working with a doctor, and I love it.
It helps a lot.
So much.
Lion's Mane's another great one that helps with focus. You might want to like maybe double the dose the first week, and then make sure you're taking it every day after that at the regular dose, just because it helps to build it up in your system.
Okay.
Because if you're just going to take it one day and test it, you may not really feel the effects.
Right.
That's what I find with like mushrooms in particular.
Okay.
Or any adaptogenic
Yep.
supplement. Except for ashwagandha. That one's a great one for like calming you down.
Love.
And that just works regardless. I'd say that those are probably my top ones for like focus and
So
like
helpful.
feeling blue.
Okay. And you also openly shared like the point in your relationships where you saw this really, or maybe just looking back on them and how Adderall affected them. So I find this part so important.
Of course,
So
relationships are always the most fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially as girls.
But where did you see that Adderall wasn't serving your relationships?
Okay, so Adderall for me made me extremely nitpicky and hyper focused on the person. So if I wasn't super busy with work or had like a task that I had to do, I would take that focus and I would hone in on the person and then think about what they're doing wrong and where they're falling short. But really it's an internal insecurity that I had that was probably because of the Adderall, because you're overthinking everything. Like yourself, what you look like, the person.
Oh my
like,
God.
It's insane.
It's such a cycle.
Yeah.
And you were on it for how long?
13 years.
13 years. And you,
so
you
I've
were-
never had a relationship off
I mean,
Adderall except for in high school.
yet.
Oh my God. That's terrible. I apologize to all my exes now.
I'll send this.
Right? But like the one the one clear, like the very clear picture I have is when you like live with somebody. So I had one significant relationship where we lived together, and then you can see like the everyday arguments and things like that would happen. And it was typically because he would come home from work exhausted like a normal person would at the end of the day. You're supposed to feel tired.
Yeah.
And I would go home because I would have taken it like probably at 5.
Oh,
I'd go
you
like,
were-
I want to go out to dinner. I want to go out. I want to do this. And like, what are you feeling? Let's talk. I want to have a deep emotional connection. Like, how are you feeling? I feel like you're not listening to me, or you're not hearing me, or not, like, it was insane.
It literally makes you go.
It got to the point where he was just like, shut up. Like, just shut up. Which then you're like, that doesn't feel good either.
No.
But I wasn't being a supportive partner because I couldn't sit with myself. And so I had to like pull the focus onto somebody else and blame other, people for what I was really feeling, this internal struggle, this struggle that didn't even need to be.
Right.
But it's just like your over-analytical mind. I think as women, we think and we overanalyze enough as it is. We don't need like a drug
Oh
to...
God, no.
And men overanalyze that are on it. I know men that are on it that will just, they'll hyper-focus on things as well, but then they'll also become very angry. So their tempers get very short on it.
I got really angry.
Yeah.
I had such a short-lived period with it, but there's people in my life. I think the reason I was so drawn to you sharing this is like I've watched it
Yeah.
destroy people's relationships
Yeah.
and like the person, like, you change.
You change.
You've changed.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know you that well, but you it's like everything opened up.
Yeah.
Like you like became brighter.
Yeah.
And almost more genuine. Is that possible? Like
Totally.
something, like warmer.
Totally. It's almost as if I'm like in touch with like who I am, my essence.
Yeah.
Which I was always trying to find. And it's like I feel more beautiful than I ever felt.
You are.
Thank you.
No,
And
I text her that. I'm like,
and
you're
by the way,
so
like,
much more beautiful.
There's been periods where like I don't feel as thin. Like I told Melissa today, like I feel like there's like I'm holding a lot of water right now, retention, and like as much as it triggers me to go, oh, it's like going off of Adderall, there's definitely some sort of, nutritional imbalance that I can myself tweak
Right.
in order to help things, even out again or whatnot. But I feel, even though that's the case and I feel bloated, I feel more beautiful because I'm confident in who I am, because I am in touch with my true essence and like in touch with who I am. And doors are opening for me now in pathways that I wanted to pursue.
That you were like, why isn't it working?
Why isn't it working? And literally, I truly believe like a drug or any drug energetically blocks you.
100%.
Whether you think it's changing the way that you are or not, it's an energetic block that is not in touch with what your like God-given or whatever you want to call it temperament is, and it blocks a lot of our gifts.
I mean, I've seen such a shift, and it's
thank
so, I love that you're sharing this.
Thanks. So I laugh a lot more, which is so nice. A lot more, because what would happen is like I would sit there in situations and people would be like dying laughing, and I'd be like, like, why can't I laugh? Like, why? It's just so
Because you were overthinking.
Yeah, I was overthinking everything. And I'd be so hyped up. Also, I'd have to like drink more to like, if I was out at night, to like calm down, or to like feel as tipsy as like the next person, or it was like very bizarre. Now I can't even drink that much.
Right, because you can drink a lot on
Yeah, you can, because it's an upper.
Your tolerance is
and it's what I would take, honestly, to stay up to socialize at night. And I still feel like I'll get tired and don't want to go out. And instead of like becoming a hermit, because I am single and I do want to be able to socialize and whatnot, I just forced myself to go out. And I gotta tell you, like, it stopped. Like, you're tired almost because you're at home, but once you're out, I just feed off of the energy. And if I don't have the energy, then I'm not meant to be at this place, and I go home.
I mean, I can relate so many of these feelings to being pregnant and not going out. I went to dinner this Saturday with a couple, and I am fun. Like, I'm fun.
Right?
And it's fun being out. And I was like, I just have to do it.
Yeah. And you don't know until you get there.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I love your story so much. And if you can, I wanted to close with, if there's anything like, you know, if you have mornings where you wake up, if you're detoxing off anything where you think you want to take it, or, you know, there's like that urge, what keeps you going on this path of continuing? I don't know what you call it. I was going to say like Adderall sobriety, or like an Adderall detox.
I think holding yourself accountable is really important. So by doing that, I've told everybody I know. So I have a support system. So when I feel the need to take it, or I want to take it, first of all, I got rid of my prescription, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I can reach out to them. And then I'm also reminded constantly, because I put it out there so publicly, why I did this in the first place. And I started a Adderall support Facebook group.
Oh,
so it's a V's Honey. Just look up V's Honey, one word, closed Facebook group. And then people are starting to share their stories, because I'm the only one that gets to see these like DMs from people that are all struggling, which actually helped me. But for me, like, if it's an energy thing, I'll usually just have a decent amount of caffeine in the morning. But I think it's really important that we allow ourselves to be tired when we want to be tired. And every now and then we're not going to eat that clean. So like, I've had moments where I've gone out with friends and I have not eaten that clean, and the next day when your gut is so bogged down, all you want is like that pill you think that's going to like boost you and clear you out. And honestly, I just chug a lot of water in the morning before I have anything else, and maybe like a shot of apple cider vinegar, and it helps to just sort of reset my system on days where I'm struggling. But really, I think first and foremost is having that support system. Like, don't do this alone. Don't keep it a secret. Like, you have no idea how many other people are struggling. So
that's the beauty of when you shared. I was so happy. And just tell everyone where they can find you.
At V's Honey and vshoney.com, and then
you have a new website, vshoney.com. Okay.
And then you'll see on there, I'm posting all 30 days of my Adderall Detox. So
smart.
All those videos will be up on YouTube, and then of course the Facebook support group if you want to get on there. And I've never done a Facebook group before, so bear with me, but I'm hoping everybody else can just sort of take the lead and start sharing with one another.
I love that you did that.
Thanks.
Thank you so much
for
being here with me.